Hello, my name is Mark and this is Production Engineering. In this episode, we're going to talk about dealing with manufacturers. There might come a time in your product development cycle where you get stuck on a problem dealing with a manufacturer. This is quite common. This can happen to pretty much any product developer. It has happened to myself, and it happens quite often in the world of production. Recently, I came across one of these problems. The developer had already spent time and money on a project, but found it very difficult to get their manufacturer to agree to the quality terms. The question was asked, how hard do I negotiate? Considering the situation, it is going to be very difficult for the product developer to negotiate with the manufacturer, since the manufacturer is already in quite a position of power. So I don't think there's going to be very much that can be achieved through negotiation in this stage. You can be blindsided like this even if you've had lots of experience with manufacturers. I've had this happen to me several times, even on very large projects. The good news is that when you go through a process like this, you learn new skills and strategies to help you succeed in future projects. So with the benefit of hindsight, what have we learnt from this experience? In this scenario, the manufacturer is becoming a little bit more difficult to deal with for several reasons. They have already provided the product developer with concessions such as a low minimum order quantity, which is below what the usual market demands of that product. Furthermore, they've already spent money on tooling with the manufacturer, so they are kind of locked in and not in a place of very good negotiation either. The main issue that is holding up this project is folding. In fact, it is folding of the product in the box so that it looks presentable at the end of the packaging process. Unfortunately, the samples that were provided to the product developer were folded by hand. And in order to do that, the manufacturer will have to get either a special folding machine or they will have to fold the units by hand, and that's going to incur much larger labor costs. So what are the lessons we can take away from this? The first one is you really need to ask whether the sample that you are getting from the manufacturer is going to be representative of what you're going to get off the production line. In fact, I would push that to making sure that it is the same as what's coming off the production line. Granted that it is not always possible to get that. For example, in glass manufacturing, you cannot start a full production machine run just to get a few bottles or a few glasses. It's not possible. So that process will be hand blown. But things like inclusions in the glass are quite important to check and make sure that they're not in there when you look at the sample, and you need to agree that this is exactly what you're getting. We are often told to ask better questions, so perhaps this is one of the times where we can do that. So rather than ask, how hard can I negotiate, maybe you should ask, when can I negotiate? To summarize a few opportunities to negotiate, here are some examples. You should be able to negotiate when. You can offer a better proposition to your manufacturer. You have a better alternative manufacturer giving you a better offer. You know costs of materials have come down. Currency shifts. And you're about to absorb a cost in your margin that could be fairly passed on to your manufacturer. So in the current days, the Trump tax that is being placed on pretty much every item being shipped out of China. How do you compare to the manufacturer's other clients? For example, your minimum order quantity or MOQ. Is that order substantial enough in reference to the manufacturer's annual quantity that if you went away and took your business elsewhere, it would really matter to the manufacturer? Price per unit. Is your order significant enough to affect the manufacturer's turnover and cash flow? Profitability. Does your manufacturer make good margin on your product? Ease of manufacturing. Is it easy to produce your product, or is it outside of the normal processes of production for that manufacturer? Your quality standards. How high are they? Are they easily met by the product manufacturer, or will they struggle to meet these standards? Your rejection rates. How likely are you to reject the product that comes off the production line? And more so, if you have rejected a product, is there an opportunity to rework or repackage the product to make it as new. So in this example that we have just mentioned, where can we go from here? Well, we have two options. We can cut ties with the manufacturer, and on one hand, you will lose time, money, and delay the project further. The tooling may not be compatible with the new manufacturer, and you will definitely have to go through a process of finding a new manufacturer. On the other hand, you avoid possible manufacturing problems like quality rejections and further loss of money that appear to be inevitable according to the position the manufacturer is taking. The second option is you go ahead with the existing manufacturer. On one hand, you are going to spend more money, but you are going to get the product that you paid for. But your profit margin does not warrant the continuation of the product. On the other hand, you have the opportunity to see if the product sells and you can recoup the cost by increasing your margin. Now, this project may very well differ to the problems you may be having with your own product. So let's look at some other ways that you can cut costs if you get to a point where you need to absorb that money into your product somehow. Shipping. Can more units be fitted in a container? Can the same number of units be fitted in a smaller container? LCL or FCL? Which one is better value for you? Advertising. Are there less expensive PPC strategies? Are there other ways to advertise, maybe for free? For example, a social media following that is willing to promote your product. Packaging. Can the cost of packaging be reduced by changing materials, thicknesses, and the number of units that can fit in a master carton? Storage. Can a 3PL reduce storage costs? Materials and labor. Is there a way to reduce material quantity in the product? For example, wall thicknesses. Is there a less labor-intensive assembly process that can be employed? Manufacturing is a complicated process. Things do and will go wrong, just expect it. However, as you get more experience, you'll be able to handle these problems a lot better. So, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. My name is Mark, and this is Production Engineering.